So let's move on to another aspect of games programming using Windows 32-bit assembler language. And the question often asked is, how do you go about putting the background, the player and the enemies and any other obstacles onto the screen? Well, here's a little shot of the green background with a border and a enemy, and underneath a player, and there was another obstacle, and this is the code that goes with it. So we begin paint the window handle and we get a device context. Then we take that device context and we create a compatible device context in memory, and then we get the memory device context. Then we use that memory device context handle to select an object, which in this case is our bitmap background, because what we want to do is we want to put on the screen, in the window or on the screen, the background first, then on top of that we want to blit our enemies and our player and any other objects to collect or that are in the way, and then lastly we want to blit the text for the lives, score and maybe a title. So then we get this old handle, and then we invoke bitblit, and we're bitblit into the device context from X and Y 00, width and height 512 by 512, using the mem DC screen copy, and then we invoke select object for that HDC that we're blitting to, the old handle, which is actually the bitmap. So this code is bitblit the background into the window using the device context, and then we delete the device context to release that memory. Then we come down to our next one where we repeat, but this time we select the player object into old, and now here comes the difference. Initially we bitblit, but we can't do that again. We have to transparent blit, because we want the player to be on top of the background. So we have to invoke transparent blit using the device context handle, and we obviously using image X, image Y 3232 because it's a 32 by 32 bit object, memory DC 003232 transparent, and again then we select the objects for the device context handle, which is the old, and blit, and then we delete that memory DC to release the resources, and then we do exactly the same thing, create compatible device context, save the handle, select the bitmap for the enemy, save the handle, then we want a bitblit, no we don't, we want to invoke transparent blit for that device context handle using again the enemy X and Y 30 to 32 bit, which is slightly smaller, and again it's the same thing. And then obviously we want to select an object, so we select the objects for the enemy and we transparent blit that to the device context, and then we want to invoke DC, delete the DC, the device context, and that's all there is to it. Pretty simple. Once you've got this code written, you just copy and paste it into the games that you're doing, and then you modify it to create more enemies. But that's, you've got to be able to run before you can walk, or you've got to be able to crawl before you can run. And that's basically it. So once you get used to that, then you add in obviously a keyboard or a mouse routine to move the player about, and that's it. You're laughing. So next time we'll probably look at a full game code, a basic game where you're moving around on a background, and there's an enemy chasing you, and you're collecting stuff, and you're increasing the score and outputting text really for the score, lives, the title, and maybe even, putting the X and Y coordinates of the mouse. Pretty simple really.